Welcome to Behind the Numbers, the podcast that keeps up to date with football and the hobby. This week, I'll update you on Prism Prices. I want to talk to you about the last 3-year Prism scope and look at each position in terms of value. I will show you all the Prism parallel cards for the hobby versions, update you on our rookie report for the week, do some who would you rather buy and sell, lastly give you my 5 takeaways from week 14 and what's to look ahead to week 15. Now, time for the show. Welcome to Behind the Numbers. Week 14 is over. I hope your fantasy matchups went well. Hope you enjoyed football like I did. I had to record this in a late one because I had to watch that Browns-Ravens game. It was simply an amazing game to see Baker and Lamar going at it. We'll get to that in the 5 takeaways for the week, but hope you guys had a great week. It's been a lot of action football-wise, obviously a lot of movement around in terms of COVID from the week before. Seems like we're getting back on track. Teams are seeming to get healthy, and we're starting to see the playoff picture take form. But I thought, as usual, I'd just update us on our Prism prices, just seeing where we're at in terms of the wax. It is still dropping just a little bit, not a ton, but it's still coming down. So right into that, cello packs, $30 per pack. Hanger boxes, $40 per box. Blaster box, $65. The mega boxes are $250 per box. So those are your 4 retail options. Your no huddle hobby boxes are $720, and your hobby boxes are $1,100. And with that, I want to jump right into, I told you last week I was going to cover all the Prism parallels, and then I realized there's 35 parallels with Prism this year, which is amazing. It's cool, a lot of different options, but also a lot to cover. So I decided today that I'm just going to go over just the hobby versions in terms of the parallels. So I went and found as many as I could. Tough time finding a lot of variety of players for you, so hope you don't mind that. And I do my best to crop some pictures and make them look the best for you guys. Just get a little peek at them. But yeah, so I thought I would just go through that here first. I'm gonna go put this up here for you guys. Whoops. All right. So the first one we have is the purple disco. Okay, it's a little Brandon Ayuk version. We have another Brandon Ayuk silver variation. We're all familiar with the silver variations. Cam Akers has been hot lately. You got a red Shimmer. Okay, the red Shimmer is a first off the line exclusive. Those are numbered to 35. Beautiful cards. Jonathan Taylor, black and white disco variation out of the no huddle boxes. Those are like an SP variation card. Very cool looking cards. And then also a Jonathan Taylor blue ice version. The blue ice comes out of the blue ice. Oh, sorry, blue ice is just the regular hobby. It's right there. Sorry, out of 99. We have the Joe Burrow blue shimmer, which is again first off the line exclusive. The blue shimmer's out of 25. A good friend of mine hit the Chase Claypool, as I mentioned last week, got camo out of 25. Just an awesome looking card. And also the Chase Claypool gold. I believe that card is out of 10, just a straight gold. J.K. Dobbins, disco prism, just regular disco prism. Those are out of the no huddle boxes. Really cool looking gold vinyl. Has that super fractor 1-of-1 look, but it's out of 5. It's a gold vinyl for Mahomes there. Those are in the regular hobby boxes. I got Lamar Jackson green shimmers also out of the first off the line. Those ones are out of 5, I believe. Yeah, out of 5. Those are big cards. Here is the 1-of-1. Not very many of these to find, so I had to get a Gronkowski on this. The black finite prism out of the hobby parallels. I really like the hypers. The hypers are pretty cool looking to me. That's out of 175 in the hobby version. Probably one of my favorite parallels overall. And then here we have the red disco. And the red disco is out of 50 in the no huddle. A lot of the discos come out of the no huddle version, so you're kind of seeing that trend. The green scope, another really cool card. I like those kind of draw my eye last year. Saw a nice Kyler Murray come out last year, but the green scope out of 75 in the hobby parallels. T. Higgins there. Okay, and then we have the Jalen Hurts orange variations. The orange is at a 249. Jacob Eason, the blue on blue here looks pretty cool for the Colts. The blue wave of CD Lamb out of 199 is the blue waves. Purple Power, Jordan Love and the Purple Power out of 49. We have the Tua Pink Disco, which is a huge card. It's out of 15. Big time hit out of the no huddle. Snakeskin. Try to zoom this one in a little bit. This is what the snakeskin looks like. This is one off of the website you'll kind of see. This is a snakeskin Joe Burrow. Those are a case hit for Prizm. So those are obviously really tough pulls. And then we have, again, the green disco, which is the neon green out of 5. Those are massive cards out of disco. Beautiful looking cards. Okay, so that's just kind of the ones I just want to run through for you guys, just giving you guys a feel what to expect of the different parallels you can find in hobby. Hope that was fun. Just beautiful cards. You can see all the color. You can see all the different variations that are possible. I like the shimmers kind of stand out to me. I like, as I said, the camo is awesome. Purple Power. I kind of like the Purple Power's design. I do wish it was a little bit different color, but I get it kind of goes to the name with the Purple Power. Green Scope's great. Hyper's great. All those cards are just really awesome cards and all selling for really good prices in terms of their short prints. So then we're just going to get into our rookie report for the week. So tier one guys, again, the quarterbacks got a lot talked about here, especially Jalen Hurts making his debut and getting a nice win over the Saints. But Burrow, as we know, he's out. Herbert kind of bounced back this week. He was 36 for 44 for 243, 2 TDs, 1 INT. Tua played Chiefs tough. They got out in front early. Mahomes had a couple picks, but they couldn't take advantage of the situation. The Chiefs stormed back with the offense and just took care of the Dolphins still. But Tua was 28 for 48. It's not super efficient, but 316 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, had 6 rushes for 24 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Hurts in his debut. They beat the Saints. Not a great day passing. He was 17 for 30 for 167 and a touchdown. 18 for 106 on the ground, though. That's incredible. He had a great game on the ground. I don't see that being sustainable for him super long term. He doesn't quite have the speed as the other guys, but he was an effective runner, and he's also built better to do that type of thing. The one thing that really stood out with me was 0 sacks. So we go from Wentz just getting battered and hit like a ton to Hurts getting 0 sacks against the Saints defense. That really surprised me. I'd like to see him still be more efficient as a passer. 17 to 30 for 167. Great start. Big win against Saints. I think the Saints lost more because Taysom didn't play very well. But I think you never know with Hurts right now. They're getting kind of momentum that Eagles could make a run in that division still. As we know, that division's kind of wide open, even though I like Washington quite a bit right now with that defense. But Jalen Hurts a pretty good opening day for sure. Tier 2 guys, so CD Lamb, 2 catches, 46. Jefferson, 4 for 39. A little quieter for those top 2 guys. Again, CD's working with Dalton, so not quite as, as good of chemistry as he had with Dak. Jefferson just kind of an off game, and Vikings were just pounding the ball, running the ball really well. They just couldn't make a field goal, so they couldn't beat Tampa Bay. Bailey was 0 for 4 on kicks, so that killed him that game. CEH, they're starting to use a little bit more in the passing game, which was good. He's 16 for 32 on the ground, so not really good there at all. 5 for 59 in the air. Jordan Love still not playing, as we know, but he's in tier 2 of the value of the quarterback position. T. Higgins, 5 for 49, and Chase Claypool, 3 for 15. So kind of those T. Higgins and Claypool slowing down a little bit. We knew Higgins would with Burrow out. Claypool just didn't see a tough time getting stuff going against the Bills. A lot of drops. Just really offense was having a rough go in that sense. DeAndre Swift was back from his concussion. 7 for 24, 1 touchdown, 4 catches for 26 yards. Judy, 2 for 42. Dobbins played tonight, had 1 touchdown, not a lot of yards, but he had 1 touchdown there at the end. We had Jonathan Taylor's just really getting going. 20 for 150, 2 touchdowns, 2 catches for 15 yards. Pittman in the same game, 2 for 42. Chase Young, big day defensively for the Washington football team. He had 5 tackles, a sack, fumble force, and a fumble recovered for a touchdown. So he got in the end zone even. James Robinson, one of his least efficient games, but it was a tough matchup. 12 for 67, 4 for 16. And Rager is starting to get going a little bit. 2 for 46, 1 for 19. The big guy that we've been talking about kind of all year, waiting to kind of come on, is also coming on, is Cam Akers. He has 29 for 171 and 2 for 23 against the Patriots on Thursday night. Looked incredible. They're really getting him going. The running game, he's just completely taken over that backfield in terms of usage. Zach Moss has also taken over the Bills' backfield, it seems like, 13 for 41. Nobody had more than 10 touches besides him. Brandon Ayuk is really surprising me just because 10 for 119 with a third to second string caliber quarterback. Really just getting it done in the situation he is really surprising to me. So he's a good guy to watch for long term. If the Niners get, Jimmy G back next year, Nick Bosa back, and they get that team together, that team still is going to be really tough out next year in that tough division. Chenault's getting going a little bit, 6 for 49. Ruggs, 3 for 18. KJ Hamler, 2 catches for 86 yards and 2 touchdowns. Gibson was out with an injury this week, and the guy I like a lot, Denzel Mims, was blanked. We'll just blame that on the quarterback issues in New York. So kind of transition after the little rookie report there too. I just want to talk to you guys about the landscape of kind of 18, 19 in Prism. Just kind of look about the top 3 guys-ish per each position of quarterback, running back, receiver, and just kind of talk about the prices of the hobby box a little bit and compared to the talent in each of those classes. So in 2018, we know that's the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker for the quarterbacks. We know that's the Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb. The third running back, there's probably Ronald Jones. A little bit weaker receiver class in 2018 of Ridley, DJ Moore, and DJ Chark. That hobby box is still going for $12.25. Josh Allen and Lamar, I think, are just really leading that price. And Baker's in there too, but he's definitely fallen off in terms of, I think, where the hobby is at on him in terms of their top quarterback. He's definitely not in the top quarterback conversation. Josh Allen definitely is. Lamar Jackson, he's there with his legs, his throwing, as we talked about, a lot to be desired, but I thought about tonight the best way to explain Lamar Jackson. He's a phenomenal football player. I'm just not sure if he's a phenomenal quarterback. Saquon Barkley's injured. Nick Chubb looks like he'd be one of the top running back, if not the top running back in the league right now in terms of how well he's playing to kind of keep the Browns going. So 2018 class is really strong. Kind of moving over to 2019 here. So you look at quarterbacks to 2019, Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones, and Drew Lock. We know we've seen the falls of Jones and Lock. Last week at the Giants, Colt McCoy took the Giants to Seattle and won, and Daniel Jones couldn't beat Arizona at home this week. They took a step back. Drew Lock's kind of have been really up and down with the Broncos this year, so pretty inconsistent. Running backs trying to shape up a little bit. I really like what Miles Sanders has been doing. He's been really impressive. Josh Jacobs, and then David Montgomery's had back-to-back big weeks for the Bears, so I put him as the third slot, but there could have been a couple different guys in the third slot. The receivers are really good in 2019 with DK and A.J. Brown on top. The really funny thing about DK and A.J. Brown, there was numerous receivers taken before those two. N'Keal Harry, Marquise Brown. A lot of guys are taken ahead of those two, and those two are looking like long-term number 1 receivers. So very interesting. And then I put Deontay Johnson as third just because of the usage in Pittsburgh. He just has a lot going on in terms of what he can do offensively. So the hobby box for those of 2019 is $850. So you kind of look at the comparison there. Definitely, I think it's a lower tier of talent compared to 2018. Definitely Kyler Murray's kind of one thing holding it up, but you still have a really strong receiver class there compared to 2018. We know quarterbacks drive the product, but Kyler Murray, he's right there with Josh Allen, I think, in terms of who's better. I think that's a really interesting conversation. I think Lamar Jackson compared to Daniel Jones and Drew Lock is what puts it to $1,200 versus the $850 for 2019. But definitely, I think 2019 has some good depth with receivers and the running back position. And then this year, 2020, it's sitting at $1,100. We talked about. We know that's got the 3 big quarterbacks of Herbert, Burrow, and Tua. The running backs, I put Gibson up there because he's one that's selling and he's been very productive. Jonathan Taylor and DeAndre Swift is probably your top 3 there. But I mean, I think DeAndre Swift, it's probably going to be Cam Akers pretty soon. I just put him based on draft stock. Then we have Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and the third guy, I couldn't even really pick a guy, to be honest with you. We could say Judy, but he hasn't done much lately. It really seems like it's kind of coming down to like a Rager or an Ayuk, or probably Ayuk would probably be the third spot there. I think that the 2020 running back receiver class is so deep that this product is going to hold some value regardless of how the quarterbacks do, and it does have quarterbacks at the top. I really think that the 1,100 compared to the 1,225 2018, I think actually this 2020 Prism hobby has a good chance to be comparable to 1,225 in a year or so when we're looking back 2 years like we are 2018. I just think the depth of all the other positions is going to pay off and kind of give it some give it a little more stability. Herbert compared to Kyler, compared to Josh Allen, those kind of top 3, really close. It's kind of like they're a blend. I think that Kyler is probably the best passer. Josh Allen's probably the best like runner and like arm strength. Kyler is the fastest runner, but I think Allen's maybe just he can take it more. And then Herbert's kind of a blend of this too. So it's really interesting to kind of compare those top quarterbacks. And then we look at Jonathan Taylor's really coming on. Like I said, Cam Akers could slide into that third spot, and Jefferson compared to like an AJ Brown or a DK Metcalf and CeeDee Lamb, what those guys are going to do. The receiver class is really strong. So just a little look there to the 3 years of Prism and how it's kind of progressed, and where the guys are kind of doing and how the hobby boxes are doing, and just kind of what we can expect maybe where 2020 is going to be. I do think 2020 is going to be a strong product like 2018 compared to that 2019, where a lot of people feel that 2019 is Kyler Murray or bust. I think it's Kyler Murray or a couple of receivers, but overall, it's still holding pretty good value at 850. So we just transition into who would you rather buy sell section. So I just mentioned it actually, and I think it's a really intriguing question. Is I have Justin Jefferson, a 2020 Prism base for 24 versus AJ Brown, 2019 Prism base for 13. So both their bases are, respectable. I think the problem with AJ Brown, he does kind of seem to always kind of get nicked up. And it does seem that they're both in not the best markets, but they're both putting up big numbers. But I do think that right now with AJ Brown being 13 compared to Jefferson's 24, I think AJ Brown is the buy. I do like Jefferson, I think, as the receiver long-term though. And I do think his prices will come down as things start to kind of stabilize a little even more with the singles when it comes to Prism. So I would go with Jefferson as the receiver talent at this point. I just think his volume and his usage is going to continue to grow as Thielen kind of phases out over time. Thielen's still an incredible player, but I do think Jefferson's going to be that number one guy pretty soon. And then I want to do one with the comparison of the 2020 running backs that are hot right now, Jonathan Taylor and Cam Akers. So Jonathan Taylor's 2020 Prism Silver raw obviously is going for 62. And Cam Akers' 2020 Prism Silver raw is going for 100. And I think that might have been one that's picked up right after his big game on Thursday. But I do think that Akers is the better talent. And I think he is in the Sean McVay offense that I trust the most. So I really feel that Akers is probably the better running back. But again, with that $48 gap there, might have just been a one-off. I would be definitely taking the Taylor at 60 and hoping that Akers comes down. But Akers is a guy that I think is going to be the Rams guy for a while. And if they can keep it going offensively in that division, they're going to be tough if they can run the ball really effectively with that defense. And then we talked about these two guys at the top of the 19 and 20 class, Herbert versus Murray. Herbert's right now, his base Prism is still hitting 150 raw. And then Kyler's base Prism is down to 82. Again, likelihood that Kyler's base Prism right now are going to be a tougher grade buying them raw. So I definitely get that idea of why it's lower. But I do think Herbert is probably, to me, he just seems safer in terms of a quarterback long term. Kyler's already nicked up a little bit. He's a little bit smaller. He does run a lot. Kyler does. So I worry about him keeping it together. But I do think Kyler is the better talent. Herbert might be the better play in terms of long term. I think they're both in tough divisions. That it's going to be very difficult for either of them to have that type of Super Bowl run that's really important for the quarterback, with Herbert being blocked by Mahomes and Kyler's in there with Wilson, and then like I said, Wilson. The Rams are always tough, and the Niners are always tough as well. So it just seems like it's going to be really hard for both those guys to have good opportunities to win rings, which is what really matters when it comes to the quarterback position. So like I said, it's pretty tough call there, but I think I'd go with Herbert for the long-term play, but I wouldn't be buying Herbert until it comes down a little bit. I still think it's a little bit high for a raw price at 150. It'd be interesting to see where those first couple of graded Herberts come out here in a couple months. Nice short show today. Just coming with you guys on my own today. But kind of top five takeaways of the week. Steelers continue to slide with the loss to Buffalo. We kind of saw this come a little bit. Steelers definitely were a strong defense, but if that offense isn't going, they're very vulnerable. And we've seen that. The offense wasn't going against the Bills. The week before, losing that game to the Washington football team, offense wasn't getting going there either. So it just seems that giving with Steelers the way they're falling, giving KC the firm control of the AFC 1 seed, which is really big for KC to have that home field advantage and have that bye week. So unfortunately, the Steelers are now looking at a 2 seed. So it's going to be tough for them to get, I think, KC. So that's a big flip of fortunes when it comes to the AFC. Saints fall to Hurts and the Eagles. It gives Green Bay the firm control NFC 1 seed. Mine's, like I said, Miles Sanders looks really good. I really like the surrounding cast in terms of skill players. I know the Eagles have a lot to do in terms of offensive line, but I like what the Rager's done. I like what Sanders is doing. I love their tight ends. They have Ertz and Goddard. So they do have a lot of things around to help Hurts succeed in terms of the offense if they can protect him, which no sacks last week. We could see where that can go because Wentz definitely wasn't getting that kind of time. The Patriots lose to the Rams and puts the Pats on the verge of missing the playoffs in the first time in 12 years. So definitely pay attention to that just because something new, something different. Change of the guard, obviously, Brady leaving. And just Cam hasn't played well. They just haven't had the offense to be productive and have any type of efficiency when their defense either. So Patriots are definitely on the downturn. Is Washington a threat? I put, the defense is for real with Chase Young and that defense, what they're doing with Rivera, they're getting noticed. They're definitely going to be a tough out if they end up winning the NFC East. And I just think that Washington, if they don't have the quarterback play to make a deep run, but if they get in there and they make some plays defensively, anything can happen in the playoffs. So definitely a team that I think we'll have to watch out for. Just defensively, they are a scary team. And then tonight, the Browns and Ravens thriller. Baker played great, and Lamar played great as well. Lamar didn't throw super well, but he ran a ton. Really big throw at the end to give them to get them up. Lamar did, and then he also got him down the field right at the end there for Tucker to make a really long 55-yard field goal. But both quarterbacks played really well. Really good game all around for the Browns and Ravens, and the Ravens had to have it. The Ravens needed it to kind of get out of that 6-5 hole. So now 7-5. Getting them a little bit more comfortable in that playoff position because they were starting to slip out. So definitely it was a huge win for the Ravens, and the Browns slipped to 9-4. So we got next week a couple of things to look ahead to. We got Herbert on national TV in Las Vegas against the Raiders, so that'll be a big game. It's always nice to see some of the rookies on the big stage and see how they perform. So I'm excited to check out Herbert. We have Seattle at Washington. That'll be a big game. See if Washington get another big win against one of the top teams in the NFC West. Hurts versus Kyler as the Eagles travel to Arizona. That'll be definitely another interesting one because I just want to see if Hurts can keep it going. I think Arizona's defense is a little bit underrated. They've kind of taken a step back lately. But the Arizona Cardinals need to win to keep their playoff hopes alive, so that's pretty big. And same with the Eagles that kind of keep pace in the NFC East. Game of the week, though, is going to be Chiefs at the Saints, especially if Breeze plays. I don't think he will. They keep saying questionable. I just feel they're going to save him as long as they can. I just don't think that many fractures in his ribs is going to heal that quickly. So I am looking to see I doubt that Breeze is playing, but it'll still be a big game regardless. And the Saints try to bounce back from their loss last week. And lastly, I put the Browns at the Giants. It's just a really big playoff game and playoff implications game because if the Giants lose, I kind of think that pushes them pretty far out, especially if Washington football team wins. And the Browns, will they be kind of hung over from their tough loss against the Ravens and see if they can kind of bounce back from that experience. But yeah, anyways, it's another big week. Nice, short and sweet today. Hope you guys liked looking at the Prism outlook. Kind of wanted to just give you guys a little bit of perspective on how the things look, and we'll have a little bit more depth for you guys next week in terms of keeping up with Prism prices, get a little more singles for you. Anything else you want to see, just leave comments on the thread, and happy to chat. Have a great week. Take care.